It's
What?
disgusting.
15?
It's indirect secret genocide on kids, on gays,
Excellent. Excellent.
on neurodivergent youth.
Disgusting.
It's
Totally.
all of that stuff.
That's right. Hey everyone, I caught myself another one. This is going to be a great conversation today. So before we move forward, again, like, subscribe, all those things you guys do to make this channel. That's how I get these amazing guests. I'll keep telling you, it's all because of you, not because of me. So with that, I have this beautiful human, Cece, who we're going to have a really great conversation. But Cece, I want you to introduce yourself and then let's have this conversation. So tell us a little bit about who you are and why you contacted me.
Hi, yeah, I'm Cece. Nice to see you, Mr. Buck Angel. Been watching your videos for a while, and
Thank you.
I'm from the United States of America, and I contacted you because I really wanted to have a dialogue. You have all of these other interviews that you have on your podcast and your YouTube, and I just wanted to have dialogue with you and share my experience and relate with other people that have gone through similar things. I think it's important to share about my experience with the community and the
Great.
transgender community and where I'm at now.
Excellent. Can I ask you how old you are?
I'm 25 years old.
Okay, you're a little kiddo. I'm 62. I always love to say I'm 62 because I can't even believe I'm 62.
Well, I appreciate your wisdom.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So, yeah, I think we were going to discuss the community. So tell me a little bit. So when you say that, did you get like sucked into all of the sort of stuff that's happening today?
No, yes, and no longer. Um,
Okay,
I would say my life now is completely different than where I was, say, in college and high school,
okay,
than how I grew up.
great. How'd you
So where
grow up?
with that?
Tell me a little bit about your growing up, where you grew up. You don't have to say exactly the city, but maybe, on the East Coast, West Coast. Where'd
Yeah,
you
I
grow
grew up
up?
on the East Coast.
Okay.
Um, Great family, and I grew up a tomboy. I did not like girly things. My family likes to reminisce all the time about how I screamed and cried putting on dresses and how much I love boy toys and play with boys and stuff. Yeah, I was more like a masculine girl growing up. Uh, and by the time I was in middle school, late middle school, I realized that I like girls, and
Right.
so that was like a thing for me all
Mm-hmm.
the way up in high school.
Okay.
Had a girlfriend and all that.
Great.
Was even part of GSA and became president of that by the end of high school.
Okay.
Very involved. And this was high school for me was like 2013 to 2017. That's when I
Okay.
graduated, 2017. So
Yeah.
major timelines, 2013 got the uh, gay marriage legalization, which I was stoked about, you know what I'm saying? And 2017 was a big year before, and as things start to progress within the community, with major escalation, as I went to college at a small liberal arts college.
Okay. Okay. So like 2018, you went to college. Is that when or 2017? Right out of high school?
Right. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. On the East Coast?
Right.
Yeah. Was it an all girls school or was it co-ed or?
No, it's a co-ed.
Okay, great. So you get into the liberal arts school around 2017, 18. What
Mm.
starts happening? And you were already sort of a lesbian. Were you identifying as a lesbian?
Yes, and actually, even in high school, before it was cool, in 2015, I think I was a sophomore at that point,
Mhm.
identified as non-binary, and that was the thing I saw on Tumblr. Oh yeah, I was big on Tumblr. Um,
Wow. Okay. Interesting. That
I
Tumblr,
was
that started it all. Tumblr started it all. I saw the whole thing.
yeah,
That's when everyone just attacked me that I'm old. Shut up. You're gay. I was like, what? What is happening? It literally destroyed the community.
yeah, it's for real. I was like a social outcast. I didn't want to actually associate with anybody in school. I was a loner by
Yeah,
choice, but Tumblr was my
sure.
friend, and a
Yeah,
dangerous friend at that. But that's actually where I discovered, all of these identity things and among other
right.
mental health stuff. That's a whole nother thing. But non-binary is when I clung onto that, and they them pronouns in high school before anyone started like teachers would be like, what? They'd be
Well,
like,
I mean, thank you. Thank you for being honest because now you're 25. And I guarantee a lot of these kids who are doing this now will hit your age and go and cringe. They're gonna cringe at what they went through now. So I can see it. It's just me being older and me saying, all these kids, all of them who are so angry at all of us and calling us, cis scum and turfs and everything else. They're gonna be you. They are. And you sort of so okay, so I don't want to get ahead of myself here. So here you are identify as non-binary, they, them. Now you're in college doing this?
right. So I enter as a freshman. I'm already cool because I'm the one that identifies as such.
That's
Not
right.
really cool, but
Yeah.
at least in the community, 'cause it wasn't as common back in 2017,
Right.
um, and that's when I met my first group of transgender people as well. I had a bigger community in college of lesbian and gays that I could surround myself with as friends.
Right.
Um,
Right.
Definitely added to the social contagion of being in that emerging adulthood developmental stage. I will bring that up. I'm a
Yeah.
psychology major, and doing the developmental stages is huge. So the emerging adulthood, big
Yes.
identity formation and connection, and
Right.
wanting to be accepted, and that was
Great.
the community I was already in. So it kind of just opened my world to it. Um,
So what ages are that when you start having that sort of, is that like 18 to something or a little earlier
18 to
where you're
25,
18, and what's that called? And
emerging adulthood.
emerging adulthood, 18 to that's why puberty blockers are so disgusting because that lay that on top of this and the brain isn't even done growing and then you're adding some crazy substance to it. It's just making you mentally sort of um um not what's I don't want to use the R word because people get so weird about it, but you know what I mean. Mentally, just stay.
Yeah.
Not growth. There's no growth. Immature, I think, is what I'm trying to say here.
Yeah,
Mentally
I just want to
immature.
get to that point of talking to you about puberty and the right to go through it. Because now at
Yeah.
age 25, I'm so glad nothing happened to me where I'd made no decision to go down a route that I wasn't supposed to go.
Oh my God. Oh my God. You would just be a whole other person right now. You would not be this person. You know that. So yeah. So you meet a trans community. Was it a big trans community?
No. But there was a few people that I was able to connect with that opened my eyes to the world of it even more
Good.
in reality.
Okay. Okay.
It's
So here
cool.
you are hanging out and you thought it was cool and everybody was kind of now, did you start to see it grow within the time? How many years did you spend at this college?
I spent 4 years there
4 years.
from
And
2017 to 2021.
okay. And then did you see the growth of the trans non-binary thing there?
Exponentially.
Talk
I
about
mean,
that.
think about those years from 2017, then you have 2020 in the mix of that, and growth from that to
Wow.
2021. It was just an explosion. For my freshman year, there was talk of having pronouns introduced in the first day of classes. I remember having to do that and put it on my little name card on my desk.
Every class, did you have to do that in every class?
It wasn't mandated for every class, but it was some classes would do it, especially the freshman one.
I mean, wow. This just blows my mind. Talk about indoctrination.
Oh, I don't
So
think
let's
they
say,
thought of it at that point. It was indoctrination. I didn't think it was until after college.
no,
I
of
realized,
course not. Of course not. Because when you're in something, you don't see it. When you're
mhm.
out of it, you're like, what was I thinking? But so wow, I have so many questions about this. It's upsetting to me. What if you said no? Were there people who said no, I don't want to talk about my pronouns?
There were some kids that made it goofy, but if
Oh,
I were to
right.
put myself back there now, I would totally resist that. I think it's
Yeah,
also an insult on actual transgender people who I actually had friends that were
sure.
transsexual.
Of
I had this
course.
one conservative transsexual that turned my whole perspective around towards the end of my college, and I mean, her view really helped me understand what it's like to be transgender. I will never
Yeah.
experience that, but she let me
Yeah.
into her world so much, and You just want to blend in. You
That's
know, we don't want
right.
that whole
That's right.
showiness. Like, just want to blend in and be like another person.
But that's a real transsexual. A real transsexual is somebody who just, that's how I can show. I say it all the time. Those people are trans identified. I'm not trans identified. Trans is my disorder. I'm identified as a man, right? I want to be a man. That's why I look like this. And no one, if, unless you know who I am, you don't know that I'm trans. That's the whole point. I can walk the whole world with everyone just calling me sir or mister, right?
That's
That's a huge compliment. But these people are identifying as an actual disorder. So they actually hijacked it to create an identity. That's why they say anyone can be trans. Well, yeah, you're right. Anyone can because it's just an identity,
Mhm.
right?
It's where the they them people like myself kind of saw myself enter this world of the pronoun situation because um I mean why else would you need to lay out your pronouns if it wasn't
That's
for
right.
they them because you would just be assumed. I think the
You think anyone, that's right. You think anyone ever gets my pronouns wrong? Oh, unless, and people call me she, they just do it to be mean. But
right.
that being said, they're not doing it because they see me as a she. They're just, but that's right. So that's why pronouns came. That's a great point. That's an excellent. They started doing that because they don't want to pass. They don't want to look like a man or a woman. They want to be trans. Great point.
Yes. And having to do the whole pronoun situation in classes, I began pondering like why am I even doing this? I didn't want the extra attention on me anyway, but I also
Right.
to just, be who I was at the time that I was. Um, I wasn't like afraid to be myself, even
Mm-hmm.
before.
Mm-hmm.
But I was also beginning to start questioning in the back of my mind as I was presenting as, this androgynous, they, them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but in freshman year, I had a breaking point actually. I had a little crisis. My girlfriend back then of 2.5 years, she broke up with me in the college, and I had a
Oh.
Britney moment. Cut all of my hair,
Oh.
and I insisted, all my masculinity in me. I'm like, I'm a boy. Um, yeah, I had a little big crisis there, and
Wow.
I remember my freshman year looking up transgender clinics in the area, and I actually went to one.
Oh my
I
God.
wanted to get on testosterone. That was
Oh
a
my God.
year. And thank goodness for my family. My grandfather's the one that went with me to make sure, I was okay and stuff down to the city.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
I was a doctor appointment and a mental health signature away from signing off on testosterone. That's like how easy it would have been.
That's
I
right.
had gone back with those signatures.
So all you needed was what's called like consent, right? You just needed to do like the consent form. Not and that's you how old were you? Well, you were an adult, right?
I
You were
was
an
19 at the time.
19,
Yep.
which is to me not even an adult. To me it's not. But in this country it's considered an adult. And then how long would the screening be to get the testosterone with it?
I would have just had to come back with a doctor signature and a mental health therapist signature. That's it.
No long term. I mean, I'm laughing so I don't cry because
I
it's
know.
upsetting. Oh my God. It's sick. And then you would have, yeah, but there's some places where you don't even need to do that, like
Right.
Planned Parenthood, who I'm after. You
I
just have to walk in.
such a resentment towards Planned Parenthood in all sorts of directions. And
Oh my God. They're like literally giving 16-year-old kids with what do they call it? Something consent. And I just have to informed. It's called informed
I saw
consent.
a video on that earlier.
It's informed because they're not even telling you the exact real things. How is that informed? They're lying. They're not telling you about all the negative. They're only telling you, you know who you are.
It's
What?
disgusting.
15?
It's indirect secret genocide on kids, on gays,
Excellent. Excellent.
on neurodivergent youth.
Disgusting.
It's
Totally.
all of that stuff.
That's right. You're so right. So you almost did it, but what changed your mind?
My mom actually was the one that also talked to me very deeply, and I could have been the angsty, teenager. Who was like, "Mom, blah," but she says, "Just wait now. Just wait till you're a few years older. Say like you're 25 or 26, and you really want to do this, then you can. But just wait."
Great.
Just wait. I
Great.
remember right where I was, right where my bedroom at the hallway, and I was fighting about it. And I was so upset. I was so angry with her. I was going to
Yeah.
leave the house because she didn't accept me, like all the narrative and rhetoric that's spewed around online about how your parents disown you or they don't accept you. And I was so close to being on that train track, but I didn't hop on, and I kind of just sat with that boy.
Wow.
And I was even thinking about the double mastectomy, top surgery. And I'm like, I'm fine. Like, I accept whatever, but I
No,
was
that's
all that stuff.
it's upsetting to me to even hear you saying this. And somebody, by the grace of God or whoever, stopped you from doing your mom. Tell your mom I love her. She's awesome. She's a great parent because she really did what she needed to do as a parent.
Yeah.
And she understood. Kids make choices that are not right at that age, and that's the point of having good parents. And a parent's job is to sort of push back on kids, not give them everything they want. So when I see parents of trans kids. Uh, I'm like, what? Since why aren't you sending your kid to therapy? How, I mean, it just saddens me that a parent would be so willing to give their child this irreversible stuff in the name of they know who they are. It's
It's really
bizarre.
fascinating.
Yeah, it really is. And I'm not saying to any parent out there who has a trans kid, I feel for you. I know you're lost, and we're really trying to help you here by having these conversations. And we're really trying to show you that this is not a space for a child. Yeah, you think a 15-year-old girl can cut her boobs off and think that decision in 5 or 10 years she's not going to change her mind? Come on.
Wow, and I feel bad for girls like Chloe and all the other
Oh my God.
detransitioners that come out, and I've watched their stories and
Oh
I
my
listen
God.
to them, and it's heartbreaking. And
Yeah,
that's why
it
I
is.
wanted to share this because I could have been one of those young girls that
Yes.
decided to do that and go down that route. But
Yes.
something within me, my family support, helped me grow up a little bit to the near end of my emerging adulthood where I could have a solid, secure relationship with my identity and who I am as a person and have full acceptance about that. And I think it's an important stage to get to. And it's a right. It's a right to get to that. And
That's right.
for these doctors and yeah, I mean for these doctors to allow this to happen, uh
Shocking.
experimental drugs and
Totally.
messing with children's puberty in development is
I mean, every time I talk to people about this, I'm still in shock. Everyone, we always talk about this in my interviews, and I'm still like, how is this happening? Yet everyone in my interview says the same thing. How are we all letting this happen? Right? How dare doctors just pretend like this is normal behavior? We've let them get away with it for too long. And I think things are going to start to change. But that being said, there are still kids still who are. So the other thing that you touched on first off was family support being huge in your choice, which is why we need to keep these family situations healthier. And the trans community saying the opposite. Your parent, right? Because they were saying that to you. Your parents don't trust, your parents don't like you, your parents won't accept you, your parents are get away from your parents. So there's a lot of big influencers who say that and try to push the kids outside of the family unit.
oh, and Jeffrey's big on
Yeah.
going. What does he say?
Oh, yeah, he says, yeah, you're right. There's a term that he uses it going, no, not stealth, going, yeah, I'll think of it. It'll come to me. I can't stand that guy. And he won't take any responsibility for it. And here he is. He's like a 40 or 50-year-old man, right? Non-binary. The guy's a gay dude. I've seen him around forever. Remember, I know a lot of these people from before. And then he became non-binary and trans. He was not non-binary and trans. He was a gay man before. And all of a sudden, because he sees how you can literally wiggle your way into the younger generation.
I just don't. I also just don't understand where these bigger influences come from that target down on these kids.
Because they're what. Don't try it. These are, I'm going to say it. These people have they're pedophiles. They're predators. There's no way. I mean, I want to be so far away from kids. I have a kid, I'm a dad. But that being said, I would never speak to children on the internet. That's just a complete no-no. Yet all of these influencers are influencing these young kids. How is that legal? I don't understand.
There's an agenda that is deeper and darker than I can even conceptualize. I don't want to know about it, but I'm kind of curious, like what's
We
actually
need to all know about it. But, the thing is that I don't care if he's not physically touching these children. I care that he's manipulating these children. It's called no contact. Go no contact with your
or no
parents.
contact. Yeah. And
Unbelievable. That that is pedo as far as I'm concerned. Like you're telling these kids not to contact or tell their parents that they're talking to you.
same thing
That
the schools are doing, keeping
oh
secrets from
my
the parents. Absolute
oh my
disgrace.
god. Oh my God. I'm just blown away that this is part of our world right now. But I really believe it's because we're not understanding social media. It's all new, right? Even though we both came from that Tumblr space, right? Watched it grow 10 more years ago, I think.
Mhm.
We still are kind of finding our legs as people and understanding that there's a dark, deep hole there
Yeah.
that children can easily get sucked into the weirdo adults who the weirdo adults can see it, but the kids can't see it. And it's why parents or adults in a child's life need to be very diligent and watching. Is your kid on the internet all day? Is he locked in his room talking? Who's he talking to?
Mhm.
Right? That's your job as a parent to I look at my kid's phone. I don't care. I
It's also a
want to see who
parent's
he's
job
talking
to
to.
monitor the social media activity. Huge.
That's right.
I blame
That's right.
social media, then I blame the parents. Because first, they
That's
shouldn't be
right.
on the social media in the first place, and social media is a terrible thing for everyone. I don't even like to be
That's
on.
right. It's
And parents
disgusting.
monitor everything that the kids are doing.
I mean, how dare you don't know what your kid is doing? How dare you just say, "Oh, just go and play on that or do that," right? No, 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 no. Especially at daily something new is coming out. Daily there's a new predator who did something creepy to a kid, right?
And I'll
And
rat
everyone's
myself out because I used to use Tumblr from eighth grade on up, and
yep, yep,
not even
yep.
about the transgender stuff, but even the mental illness side. I would see so much self harm, eating disorder stuff, depression, anxiety, suicide stuff on Tumblr.
Oh
And
God.
because, back then I was anorexic and I did self harm and I was depressed and
Shit.
anxious, all of
Oh
this
my
stuff.
God.
And I would
Oh my
just be
God.
consumed with that media.
Oh my God.
So, like,
See, you're the
mentioning the
perfect
social
candidate.
inclusion part, or just the consumption of media in that way,
Yeah.
of course
Yeah.
you're going to fester in it.
That's right. Also being in that space of self-harm and all of that stuff, you seek other people so you don't feel alone. And
Yeah,
that's a
community.
real thing. That's right. That's why social media blew that up. And then young people who are suffering from anxiety, depression, trauma, abuse, right? They can find these kinds of
Right.
space. Thank you for being very vulnerable in that. It's not easy to talk about those things like anorexia and self harm, and something was going on with you, whatever that was.
Mhm.
You needed to seek out other people because it makes you feel that what you're doing isn't weird.
Mhm.
That's right. It's
And I
so
would
sad.
even say too, like, trauma that I've experienced as being a girl and a woman, I'll say the least, um, that definitely feeds into how one thinks about their gender. I back then hated being a girl so much. I hated anything feminine because I don't want to be perceived as a girl. I don't want to be perceived as a woman. I don't want men to look at me. I don't want men to be around,
Wow.
it's a whole thing. And no wonder young girls have this idea like, oh, well, I don't have to be a girl anymore. I can be a boy. I don't have to have men target me. Like that's also
Wow.
like a deeper layer that does go on in girls' minds when we're thinking about transitioning. At least that's what my experience was too. I just
Yeah.
was repulsed. I rejected, and I was disgusted with myself. I didn't want to be me as a woman. Mm-mm.
What? Why? What was did you don't have to answer, but was there some traumatic experience or something that happened to you or was it just puberty, growing breasts, and being
Yeah, yeah.
feminine?
Some
Was it just
about
that?
before.
Yeah, like coming into like the boobs and what we all know. I was a girl. I mean, I am a girl, but you know what I
Puberty
mean.
was
I'm a
fine for
female.
me actually, um,
Yeah,
for the most part. But I would say like in high school and college is when I experienced, some pretty bad situations. Um, I've since processed and grown from that. But at that
yeah,
time, like no wonder why I was so repulsed by being myself as a girl,
Yeah.
as a
Yeah.
woman, because
Yeah.
yeah, I just felt like gross. I felt violated. So why not remove everything? Why not change myself? Why not reject myself and no longer accept myself?
Totally. I mean, God, you're so lucky. I mean, if you really could have easily just gone to the surgery and you know, this idea that hormones are reversible, no, they are not.
Yeah.
You might be able to go back to looking a little fit, but they're going to look at me. Like you're just never, if you look at, I have pictures of before as a girl. I looked like more female, I was androgynous,
Yeah.
but I did nothing like this. And to say that, oh, you could just take a little testosterone and then it's going to affect you somehow.
Well,
It's
I
sick.
feel so bad for those that feel as though they need to change themselves to accept
Yes.
themselves.
Yes.
And that's what
Yes.
I gratefully had the time to allow myself to get to this point where I could have literal self-acceptance.
Yeah.
The left, the liberals, and they all
Yeah.
preach through this
Totally.
transgender ideology of accept yourself as trans when when these youth are really not trans most likely, and
No, they're not.
it's
They're not.
and then that's actually promoting the self-rejection. You're not accepting yourself as your born body. I get
That's
it if you
right.
grow up, you're an adult, and then
That's right.
you actually understand what you're putting yourself through. Like
That's
you, I
right.
look up to you, I look up to Blair,
Thank you.
um, and also
Thank
my
you.
friend from college who started transitioning as a, you know, cognizant adult who knew what she was doing.
That's right.
I just had a conversation with her a couple months ago, actually. Met up with her
Great.
post college, and oh my gosh, I even talked about you. And
Oh, sweet. Is she doing good?
yeah, oh my gosh, she's so happy.
Mm,
Wonderful.
great.
She was actually the conservative transgender friend who, in college,
Excellent. Excellent.
allowed me.
Because that's the thing people need to see. This is rare. It's not as common as they're trying to make it seem. It's a very rare thing. It's also
Yeah,
adults only. And
it,
I did try to live. I actually made a huge effort to live in my female body for many, many, many. I was a gay woman, dyke, all that stuff. But it just got to a point where I just knew, I got sober, and it really came to me more. I didn't do this when I was still using drugs and alcohol. I did this during sobriety. So I was not in a crazy frame of mind, if that makes sense. I was
yeah,
very grounded around what I was doing. And there was nobody doing it when I did it 32 years ago. There was no internet, there was nothing. And I wish people who really think I'm part of the problem, because, there's people out there who say I'm part of the problem. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm literally saying no.
they
I'm
probably
saying
haven't
no.
listened to you.
They hate me. They hate me. They're like, it's because of you that I transitioned. I'm like, I never told you to transition. I've told people wait and take time, and I it's just weird how of course, because I am a success, I think, on my transition, that people don't like that I'm a success because they think young people are going to see me, but I push against those young kids and I tell them I transitioned at 30. I did not transition at 15, and I lived a life until I got to a point where I said I could be this person. I really believe most people who transition at 15 or that age will regret it. I do.
Absolutely. They're
I do.
15.
Yeah.
I can
No.
say I'm 25 now, and you know,
No.
I don't think I could make that decision even if I wanted to.
That's
Very
right.
serious.
Thank you. Thank
I
you.
respect the kind of decisions that you've made for yourself because
Thank you.
it takes a lot to make yourself go through something so you know that you're going to be okay and happy.
It's just like sobriety. Are you willing to get sober and go it's hard. It is not easy to get sober when you've been slamming drugs. Like I was smoking crack. I was doing everything. And it takes a huge amount um of giving yourself up and humility on some level and saying, I'm going to die. Like you just have to know that, and then you have to go through the pain to get to the other side of sobriety. Sobriety isn't fun or easy. It's a work, just like anything else where, and I'm always working on myself, by the way. I want people to know that. I don't think I'm the end all be all, nor do I think I'm perfect. I'm constantly going to therapy and doing that. But that's why I push mental health care. So
Right.
at any point, did you start seeing a therapist, or I want to know how you sort of got out of that
Okay.
frame.
Well, in ninth grade is when I started um, being involved in the mental health care system. went into an inpatient facility
Okay.
multiple times in high school, starting in ninth grade,
Okay.
and also started therapy at that time all throughout.
Okay.
Um, my senior year of high school, 6 out of the 9 months of school, I spent in eating disorder treatment,
Wow.
trying to recover from that
Wow.
before I went to college.
Wow.
Not so
That was like
successful.
right before college. You had so during high school you had an eating disorder.
Yeah, I was trying to resolve it before I went to college. That was the goal.
Wow. It's really intense. It's like alcohol, eating disorder, same thing. It's the same sort of traumatic.
I worked at a rehab, yep, and I would say just
Yep.
another vice.
That's right.
Well, that
Totally.
does me just use them differently.
Did you get out of the eating disorder or did you still have it going into college?
Well, I was pretty anorexic before going in, and I was like, oh, I don't like to eat. So the other girls were purging because I just
Ah,
couldn't stand food, feeling full. So I developed a bulimia purging behavior from that.
yeah.
But I
Yeah.
would say by junior year of college to senior year of college, like I would say I was normal with it. Like I finally felt like, oh,
Great.
we're not doing anything. Can eat
Yeah.
normally. I can
Great.
exercise normally. I'm fine. So yeah, I've been
Mhm.
fine for a few years now.
Fantastic. Congratulations. It's not, I have a lot of friends who had, well, a lot, but I'm many growing up. And, I was bulimic actually when I was in high school because my running and, the weight. And when you're running, and it just totally does. So I completely understand the eating disorder thing. It's horrifying. And it's not an easy thing to get out of because food is prevalent all around you every day, all day.
I would say too, it was definitely hard growing into my body in college at that point. Because then by the time I went to college, I was like, all right, I'm free. I can eat now. It
Yeah.
was a whole mess, but also I was going through a second puberty, I was calling it. I was just
Er,
filling in,
Great.
like crazy
Great.
after, the refeeding process. I was just letting myself eat, but also like behaviors was,
Was it hard? I mean, it must have been hard to sort of retrain yourself to say it's okay for me to have this
yeah, I was
food.
living a double life for a while with my eating disorder at college, trying to act normal, like nothing was wrong with me.
Right.
Um, but I would say like once I focused on my nutrition,
Yeah.
um, during 2020, in my exercise, I developed a whole new relationship with myself and also as a woman too. That's crucial. Just all self-acceptance going on.
Totally.
That was just a beautiful moment that I got to spend so much time with myself.
Excellent.
Yeah, so
So
therapy work has been involved. I've seen my therapist for 8 years now, and I
great.
still see her.
Excellent that you have a relationship for that many years with the therapist. That means that you really made a bonding and probably why you are much better because to find somebody that you could have 8 years of therapy with is rare. It's not
Mhm.
easy. So
So
kudos to that, my friend. Yeah.
she got to see me from my junior year of high school, all college, going through my
Wow.
boy phase to my
Yeah.
all right, we're going back out into my womanhood phase. Yeah, she saw all of me.
Oh, that is so beautiful. So, do you think so? I'm noticing a trend here with you and with what's happening. You have a lot of sort of issues happening with yourself, some eating disorders, some other stuff, traumas going on somewhere there. You're right, you're dealing with stuff in ninth grade already. So, I notice that a lot with the young kids who are identifying as trans, right? They have a lot of issues happening. They're not just kids who maybe just don't like themselves. There's other things, underlying factors going on. Did you notice that?
Yes.
What do you think? Why do you think all of a sudden? Because the majority of these kids all are dealing with some kind of disorder. Something's going on. Not necessarily gender dysphoria, but other things that are going. Anxiety, depression, self hate.
Yeah, well, I mean, think about any adolescent and what the adolescent developmental stage goes through. It's a trying time of figuring out your self-esteem and understanding who you are and how you're being perceived by your peers.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
a huge part of adolescence is that peer acceptance. And we
There you
want to
go.
find ourselves within our peer groups.
Yeah.
And for kids like me, who, although I was a loner by choice, I was just like,
Yeah.
I knew myself as an outcast. I didn't really fit
Hmm.
in. I had my
Right.
own, like, um, martial arts boxing scene outside of
Hmm.
school that I fit in with very well. I had my outlet that way in my fighting life. But
Hmm.
in school, I did not fit in. And kids like that, I see leaning towards online digital worlds. To
Yes.
myself growing up, our adolescence, like the beginning of adolescence stage, like 14-ish, that's when social media and iPhone, like the smartphone world, that's when we started having this as like a third party in our social life.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
pretty unique for my generation is the beginning of our adolescence is when we integrated smartphones and social media as we grew up with it into our emerging
Wow.
adulthood and so on.
Oh, that's so scary. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
So to see yourself constantly on the online digital world, there's so much things that you're trying to live up to and compare yourself and seek validation and attention. And
That's right.
I'm just so glad I'm a psychology major because one, I was
Oh, we
able to
need you.
figure out stuff for me that I needed.
Yes. Yes.
Two, be able to tell the difference of the psychology of the digital social media world. Um, and also be able to navigate myself within that and not and actually release myself from the social media world to
Yeah.
the most extent possible.
Yeah. That's right. So,
I feel for these kids that are clung on to
oh,
it and
it's why you really, it says a lot about you that you actually chose to be a psychology major. All of this stuff, you are going to be needed. You know that it's going to break. This is all going to break. It's coming. I see it already. I see the break in the system. I see the break in the trans identity. I see just so much bad things about to happen that if we don't have people like you who are psychology majors or therapists or people who are geared and ready to take on these kids, it is going to be a complete night. These kids are going to be completely insane. Insane. What are we going to do?
I do think that we need to be promoting self-acceptance, literal
I agree.
self-acceptance, like who you are as a person. You're male, you're female, you're girl, you're boy, you're man, you're woman.
That's right.
And
That's
those
right.
are things that have been a normalcy forever.
That's right.
And all
That's
of a
right.
sudden, it's strange to be that or align with that. I
Well, there's an agenda.
yeah,
Look, there's no doubt. Well, let's just let's just look at this from back. When adults, okay, because there's adults who built this fake platform for children, so that already has me like, what? Who are these trans women and these trans people saying this to young people? You know who you are, and building a whole then telling them that biology isn't real, right? And telling them that a boy can be a girl and a girl can be a boy. So what? When did we start doing? Never in the world of transsexualism did we ever deny our
no,
biology. That's the reason you're trans.
yeah, full respect with that. And
It's
that's what's terrible about this. They're confusing children.
But there has to be
Well,
a reason why why, right? Think about it, because any normal doctor or therapist or anyone nobody ever lied to me 32 years ago. My doctor said, you're not changing your sex. My
mhm,
doctor said, you're changing your appearance to
mhm,
feel comfortable to walk in the world. I was literally solid. I knew that I never changed my sex. It's just something you put in the back of your head, right? And you sort of move forward as that guy. But never did I think I actually became a man, right? I didn't get that surgery down there. So I'm still walking the world female, if that makes sense.
I remember the gender gingerbread analogy. You know that diagram?
Totally. Totally.
And I was talking about this with my friend too. How there is a mix up between like a conflation between gender expression and gender identity.
That's right.
And
That's right.
with that being conflated, all right, so now we have the basic biology, what we've always known, male, female, man, woman, girl, boy,
Yep.
with femininity and masculinity.
That's
And
right.
that's when it circles back to my whole point and my experiences. I grew up a masculine girl. Expression, masculine,
That's right.
identity, or just basic.
Yep. Yep.
That's a girl female,
That's right.
And to reject either of those, I think is uh bigoted and hateful in itself. I mean, it says
Totally.
I think if I grew up any later than I had, I would have been swarmed into this transgender stuff because I was a tomboy, I was a masculine girl. I like boy stuff. I would
That's
have been
right.
so confused growing up, thinking I was a
That's
boy.
right.
But hold on. I thought we had gotten to a point already in our society where okay, to be a masculine girl and a feminine boy. What?
We did. We did.
You know?
That's that's what I'm telling you. So I don't know if you know about in the country called Iran, right? They actually have such insane homophobia. Okay, like they just do not believe gay people. They're the devil. They'll kill you. But what they will do if you are leaning towards that way, they will actually pay for your sex change. This country doesn't want gay people there. So instead of you being, let's say, a masculine woman or mostly it tends to be effeminate men who do this, they make you into a woman. And then you could just live your life as a woman. So I'm seeing the same insanity happening here. I really believe it's a homophobic movement,
Yeah.
and they don't. Somebody's trying to eradicate gay people.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's my conspiring idea is because the people that are being targeted the most are typically gay people.
that's right.
I was lesbian,
That's right.
and
Yep.
people like me, gay, lesbian, or bi, and then also
Yeah.
actually gender non-conforming.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that are targeted, and they go
That's
through
right.
the puberty blockers, the cross-sex hormones.
That's right.
They castrated. That means they can't
I know.
reproduce, as you know, and that is
Then there you go.
sterilizing a group of people. And
A
that,
group of people.
yep, the LGBT community. They're
That's
sterilizing them. Case in point.
it's I have chills even talking about it. I'm like, are people
I
not
have
seeing this?
text to so many people in my family, my friends, over and over again. I can't stop talking about this. It's
It is
it's so real.
mind blowing. It's happening. I don't care what anybody says. They are transing gay kids. I don't want to say that because kids don't really. I mean, here's the deal. I want to say though. You kind of. It's not such a bad thing. Maybe if a kid kind of understands their sexuality. Like I remember, I was always attracted to girls. As a girl, I was always attracted to girls. I'm still attracted to girls, right? I'm still a female. So you could say I have a female partner. So on some level, I'm still a lesbian, right? I'm just an ugly lady. But that being said, sexuality is very innate. It's just you can't change that. You cannot change your sexuality. I mean,
I
you
feel as
either
though the community turned me straight.
you what?
I feel as though the community turned me straight because
But I
always
don't. But
I don't
that's what they wanted. But I think deep inside. So are you telling me right now, if you saw a woman that you felt attracted to, you wouldn't have a relationship with her?
know. Well,
You wouldn't?
actually, since getting out of college and all that, I've actually changed a lot, and
Okay.
um, quite honestly, like I turned from lesbian to bisexual, and then I found a relationship with God, and
Okay, that's fair.
I realized
That's
my
fair.
values too that I've always wanted to be a
Yeah.
mother, and
Okay.
there's
Okay.
I had a broken father, so I've always wanted
Okay.
to have my own child have a father in the picture, and
Great.
I wanted
Great.
my children to see a mother and a father that love each other.
That's fair.
And that's what I
That's fair.
imagined, and with that like stemming within me in this past few years, I found myself a boyfriend last year.
But that doesn't mean, see, that doesn't mean anything to me. And also, I want to go back to that. And also, I appreciate you being honest about that. And those are your values.
Yeah.
Those are your values mean to you that you don't want to be with a woman. Doesn't mean you can't still be attracted. But if you still feel uncomfortable, that's okay. You just put that over there. The point I'm trying to make is no harm. No harm that you had a relationship with a woman or that you felt bisexual. There's nothing bad that comes from that.
Absolutely.
But if you put trans, let's say on the flip side, you decided you were trans at 15 and you cut your boobs off and you said, That's a lot of damage that you will never get rid of ever. Do you see my point?
Yeah, and that's a big point I wanted to bring today too, is I just reflect back so much, and I just imagine if I'd gone down that path, the amount of regret I would have had.
Oh my God, you would not be the person sitting here right now. I do not believe you. I mean, I do think
Yeah.
not good things. I don't. I really don't
And that's
think
how I
not.
feel for a lot of people, and the bravery and courageousness that come out of detransitioners and share their story. I can just imagine what it must be like to have gone through all of that irreversible
That's right.
damage, as Abigail Schreier coins it,
That's
um,
right.
and
That's
have to
right.
live with that. And Casey and Chloe,
All of
oh
them.
my gosh, all the regret.
Some of them, most of them are really cool with me because I support them. But then, you have the ones who blame me, which is sad because I'm trying to help. I'm here trying to help. I in no way, shape, or form, think that we should not be giving huge amounts of love to these young people
They
who
deserve so
teach.
much love, and all of
It's
these youth
horrible.
that are debating this or contemplating, their
Wow.
gender, they need the
Wow.
love, they need the acceptance.
That's right.
They just
That's right.
need to be, you're okay as
They
you
need to
are.
be
Just grow
held.
up. Grow up.
Well,
It's okay.
what you said earlier, again, you make really great points. Self acceptance. Why are we not teaching? And also stereotypes. What?
Yeah.
What? A girl? But I have two
Learn.
sisters. I have an older sister and a younger sister. They're very masculine women, but they're women, right? They're not. One was a cop. The other one is like a big businesswoman. They're people would consider them type A women, right? They're just, but at the same time, they know they're women. They like dudes. They're very, you know what I mean? What is wrong with that? What is wrong with being a very, sort of masculine woman? Nothing,
Absolutely nothing
nothing,
wrong. And it's also reality
nothing.
based. Yeah,
But I think you and I agree there's something sinister happening here.
absolutely.
And it's why I do believe in faith, right? Whatever that is, Christianity, Judaism, Buddhism, all of these kinds of things I think are so important in people's lives. I really do, because it gives you a sense of you are not that powerful. That person or that person or whoever you are just this person, and people need guidance.
Yeah.
And when you understand that you're sometimes not in control of your future, that whatever your futures are, it's coming, my friend. You have to accept it, and you can't change your sex. It's not possible.
No.
It's quite sad that we put young people's minds into this space, and instead of giving them things like maybe faith, or giving them things like maybe you just need to find some other space that accepts you for who you are right now, right? And saying this is how your body is. You're gonna look this way. Doesn't mean it's bad, or means it's who you are. Accept it. Maybe you were born with three arms. Oh well,
Right.
got to
And
move
those are
forward.
such important messages. And I feel like I've grown up with those messages, and I wonder what happened to that. And I think about what we need in the future for our youth. That's
Yeah,
exactly it. But what happened to that?
that's right.
And how can we bring
Oh, really? The internet happened. And when the
progress?
internet happened, the creeps came in. And when the creeps, seriously, they're also the ones who have, on some level, no faith or no understanding of the universe. I a lot of times call it the universe. And they don't. They don't have those. Or teaching people to sit with themselves without a phone, without a thing,
Right.
and just contemplate your own space. And people can't even sit with themselves for 5 minutes without looking at the telephone. Without
Yeah.
telephone, see how old I am? The telephone, the phone. They always have to have the phone. They're
Right.
like,
It's that instant gratification too. And that's also what I appreciate so much about therapy, because once I graduated college, I did. I spent the next 2 years after that fully immersing myself in therapy and processing everything and healing from what I
see,
needed to at the time. And lots of inward introspection and reflection and
great.
just mending and healing those deeper
I
wounds. But
see
I
it.
hadn't had that time to do that. I feel like that's
Well, people didn't teach you. And also,
yeah.
nobody sat you down and said, calm down. Like, really, just, I've had parents reach out to me a lot and say, what do I do? My kid's trans. I go, no, they're not. I don't even know the kid, right? I'm like, no, they're not. I'll tell you what to do. Take the phone away, take their peers away from them. Okay. Who's ever the group of people they're hanging out with, pluck them out of that. Okay. With their crying and screaming, pluck them out of it. Get them to somewhere where they're away from everything. If you could take them to the mountains, to go camping for 2 weeks,
Yeah.
get them away. I guarantee almost every single mom or dad told me, wow, Buck, they don't think they're trans anymore. And I'm like, I can prove it to you that it's a social contagion.
Yeah. Not
They need
allow
love.
them to be
They
with life, their family, like that
yes,
loves them, and nature,
yes,
the earth that
yes.
surrounds them.
That's right.
Really
That's
just
right.
real things surrounding them.
That's right. And you having this experience and stepping up and talking about it says a lot about you, friend. You have great integrity because you are telling your story that you got sucked into it. And looking at you, people would just think, oh, how is that possible? She looks so normal and da da da, right? Because you do. You just look like this normal girl. But you were once about to transition yourself. That's sad. And only because of what? Why do you think that you felt like you needed to become a trans person?
I did not want to be who I was. I wanted to change something
Damn.
about me.
Makes me want to cry. I'm not kidding
I
because
want to escape from
y-
my body.
uh, it's just a shame. That's exactly what's happening to these kids. They don't like themselves and they want to be something else. And they think magically by becoming trans, everything is going to be great when it's the complete opposite. You see, that's why they do these tropes like trans joy. You see that stuff? Trans euphoria. What does that even mean?
No, I was talking to my one friend from college. She's a social worker now. We're both in the psychology field working.
Great, great,
I'm also a crisis worker right now,
great.
and we're just talking. She gets to see the adolescent youth that are are coming in and expressing transgender identity, and
Yeah,
it's a shame because they're not allowing themselves to
no,
be who they are,
that's
to
right.
grow up in their natural born puberty, and and find themselves with that. And I think also the therapy part needs to be emphasized more. If they're expressing this, with the DSM, it's a
It's
mental,
here. Everything that's happening with these children is here.
yeah,
When I transitioned, I had to go through years. We had an actual system where you could
respectfully,
never, ever do what these kids are doing today. People would think you are nuts, right? The point is to try to talk you, to get you back to living in your own space. This is the last resort, people. This is not the
yeah,
first resort.
and that's
They
what me and
flipped
my
it.
yeah, that's what me and my friend were talking about. And I'm like, wait, hold on. These kids just need actual therapy. They need to address their self-esteem issues. They need to address their
Yeah,
depression. They need to address their anxiety. Where is this
yeah,
root stuff coming from? And I think when we get to those deeper roots, which
yeah.
this world's not allowing them to get to it,
No,
at least the whatever trans doctors they're surrounding themselves with is not allowing them to get to
that's
that
right.
point anymore. But I
Nope.
think in
It,
general, if 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 there's something going on, if there's confusion with the body,
yeah,
there's something not well within the self, and that needs to be addressed
yeah.
through therapy. And I am so grateful that I've been so immersed in therapy that it has allowed me to have that acceptance
That's right.
thoroughly. So I
And I can
followed it.
see it.
I'm in the field for it because shoot, I was helped from it, so I just want to be a helping person for other people now. And
That's your integrity.
yeah,
That's what I said. I could
well,
tell
you
you
do
have
now.
integrity to step up and to say that because what helped you, you want to pay it forward, right?
Yeah,
What helped me, I also want to pay it forward, but I want to make sure that you're in the right space. I don't want these kids to be trans. And whatever you think about that, you can think about it. I'm not pulling up the ladder, I'm securing the ladder. That the trans community, they come after me. Oh, Buck, it worked out for you. Now you're pulling up the ladder. Why would I do that? Why would I pull up the ladder? I'm securing it for you kids. You don't even understand what I'm doing here. I'm making sure that the ladder doesn't fall backwards
mm.
when you're transitioning, right? So
Yeah.
it's
But
it,
I
it
see you have such great care, deep care for our youth,
thank you.
and I care about our youth, and that's
Yep,
I just feel like I'm meant to go in this psychology world is so I can
you are.
when it helps the youth get to that self acceptance,
Thank
find
you.
themselves from within and discover who they really are and be
Thank
their
you.
best selves because they deserve to get to that point, and
They
you know,
do.
that
And
will support that.
There's no better person to do it than somebody like you who's been through it and came out the other side, because you can relate to them, right? Sometimes having a therapist that might understand or went to school or learned it through that's fine. I understand they want to help, but somebody like you who's actually been in it is gold. You are gold, and you will help these young people. They need people like you to just listen and say, hold up here, kiddo. It's not trans. You're not trans. You're just suffering from X, Y, and Z, and we can work that out, and we can figure out what's the next. Most of the kids who don't transition like you are like you and say, God, I almost did it, but somehow their parents were there for them. Your mom was
I
there
had
for you.
protective
She's amazing.
factors, for sure.
Sorry.
I had protective factors. Yep, my mom, my grandparents, my family was
That's right.
very supportive.
That's right. I think some of these kids don't have solid family units.
Right.
Yeah. And that's a problem.
And
And again,
also, this whole ideology does try to pull kids away from their family unit too and break that a whole apart. And
no contact. No contact.
yeah,
Jeffrey Marsh, no contact. I have issues because he's putting his own trauma on the kids. If you listen to him, sit and listen to him, he thinks he's such a guru. And he's like, he always talks about his ugly relationship with his mother or whatever. And I'm just thinking, dude, that's your trauma.
that's your
You're using the kids to sort of,
parents feel helpless in trying to help their kids that are experiencing this, and they just
yes,
go along with the
yes,
rhetoric because, oh, well, another
yes,
big thing, there's this big push that, oh, well, from a lot of doctors, they'll say like, oh, well, your kid will,
yeah.
do you want a dead son or an alive daughter or something, or it's pushing
Manipulation.
so manipulative. It
It
bothers me
is.
so much to pull the suicide card.
Oh my God. How dare they? And I always say this, really? You think so? So where are all the kids that committed suicide? No, they don't exist. So you're telling me all of a sudden there's no suicidal kids, there's none who did it? Then it doesn't exist. Because if that was the case, these kids would have offed themselves a long time ago. And their whole thing is being dismantled. I don't know if you saw recently, Elon Musk came out that his son, he was manipulated into transitioning his son into a girl. Speaking of, you should just Google. It came out. He's gonna help save because he's got a huge voice, and he said he feels manipulated by it, and he was told if he didn't do it, then all the same tropes. So it's very powerful for somebody of that level to come out with that vulnerable story. It's a very heartbreaking. I think he was with Jordan Peterson. It's a very heartbreaking story.
Peterson. He's my favorite public
Me too.
scientist.
Me too. Me too. Love the guy. He just doesn't take any from people, right? He doesn't necessarily. I stand in such a weird space, CC, because, because I am transsexual and I did do this, and I do believe there's people who have this, but they don't. They think it's now because of this new irresponsible trans space. People just want to take it all off the table and never let somebody transition. And that's not going to work because people like me do exist. And it's sad to sort of see the pushback now on people who really do have gender, identity disorder. Right. It's going to hurt the real people who actually need the medicine.
Right. Which is harmful for people like you and
that's right. And Blair and Marcus and many, many other of us who have just been living our lives this way. I can prove to you it works. 32 years, you got to give me some credit for that.
Absolutely.
And you got to say it worked for him.
And I think the future, if there could be a happy middle ground, maybe just allow youth to grow up past their emerging adulthood developmental stage.
That's right.
It's that 25 cutoff. Because I
agree.
Me growing up and observing myself grow through this developmental stage
from
18 to 25, I feel like here on out and through the young adulthood, I think it's an appropriate time stamp to make those types of decisions. I don't think any age earlier is
me either.
Well, not appropriate.
I'm in full alignment with you. 25 and over, you can make this choice. Yeah. Deal with it. Whatever stress you're dealing on, you're going to have to just deal with it, right?
Right. Well, no, it is
It's
America. You can make those decisions if you can if you're an adult. It's
oh
great.
my God, that's right.
That's wonderful. If you really want to do that, go ahead and have the mental health treatment. Have the like, all right, you're
Have it
seeing it,
all.
you know?
That's right. Steps.
That's
It's
respectful
like
and diligent. But to
that's
have it so
right.
immediate and instant is terrible and allows for
Terrible.
mistakes to be made. You have to be really certain you want to do this like yourself and like my friend and Blair and Marcus and
That's
you
right.
really just
And
gotta cross your dots and dot your T's and whatever and
oh my God,
just
it's
have you
our
doing
fault for letting
anymore.
these kids fall. It's disgusting that you think a child, people always use that. A child can't get a tattoo. A child, right, for a reason. Because this stuff is irreversible.
Right.
I'm never going to be able to get rid of this stuff. And I did do it at a young age. And some of these things I wish I didn't do. They're ridiculous. But here I sit with these dumbass tattoos and the reminder of me being 20 and doing stupid. So you think I could have made a choice to cut my breasts off at 20? Hell no. Hell
And I
no.
don't understand why people would argue otherwise because why wouldn't people look out for the youth and their decisions that they
I
make?
don't know.
You know?
I don't
I
know.
don't,
That's what I'm telling you. I feel like it's sinister. I really do. Something sinister at play here. Like, are they trying to? Is it homophobic? Do they want to wipe out gay youth or people who? I do. There's some connection to that I
there's
won't.
all of these
I won't.
connections.
It's gross. It is so gross, friend.
And that's what I say. Like, there's some deeper, darker thing
I agree.
agenda going on.
Yep.
And why? I just don't understand why the Democratic Party is pushing this. I just don't understand that.
Because they've been sucked into it. People just get sucked into things and they just think, oh, they said so, right? What? Don't you do your research and not Google, by the way? Don't you do your research and like figure this all out? But no, that's why I started my channel.
Mhm.
And that's why it's so awesome I get people like you, because now I can say, hey, look, you can go read X, Y, and Z. I'll put links to it. You can make your own choices. But when I bring real people on like you, CC, that's a real voice of someone who had a real experience, and you can't deny your experience. And it's making not my little channel, but all of us doing this together is really waking people up to say, hey, wait a minute, this is really happening. Because I can keep saying it but when I bring a person on like yourself who says, oh, this actually happened to me, that's
Yeah.
powerful. Totally.
And that's what I admire about all of your other interviewees and your story and people that you bring on. And
Thank you.
I told you in my emails writing you, it's just so powerful to hear and listen. Real
Thank you.
people go through kind of similar stuff and
That's right.
to hear the regret and also to hear the triumph from experiences. I think all collective stories have a purpose to when
Yes.
they're shared, when they're heard, to have
That's
some
right.
sort of message to be shown through. And that's what I hope to have
That's
with you in this conversation. And whenever you share this, is hopefully
oh, oh,
here.
oh, even if only one young person hears this, you will save them. And that's all I care about. Even that one single person, that's all I actually care about. But it'll be so many more because somebody will be able to connect. And that's why, again, I will just keep telling you, you have amazing integrity and you're a really beautiful soul. And these stories help people see I'm not alone, right? Just like
Great.
anorexia or cutting or any of that. And instead of just making a community where you're all just talking about getting help for these people who are
Yeah.
dealing with these, not just saying we're all trans joy. No, you're not. That's not trans joy. You're lying because you know what the kids are lying. They just want to be a part of that thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just
So
so happy I allowed myself to grow up.
I know, me too. I feel so happy that you oh God, I feel so happy. When I see it, I'm just like, oh my God, I can just picture. It's just, yeah, you were saved. You were actually saved.
Myself
Somebody
to
loved
grow
you.
up and accept
Yep.
myself. And what a beautiful journey my life is so great now. And
I
I'm
know.
just
I know.
sure.
And you're a beautiful,
Same.
you're beautiful. You're actually physically beautiful and you're beautiful in your heart.
Thank you.
And, you're going to be making a huge difference in this world. So, with that, Cece, thank you so much for joining me today. Thanks everybody
Thank
for
you.
watching. Please leave her lots of beautiful comments like you always do. That's why I love this community because people are so beautiful and awesome and they always leave such great comments. So with that, I'll see you guys all next week on the live. And thanks for joining us and really I can't do these without you. So again, liking, subscribing, pushing these out there really help this channel grow, and it's growing, and we're doing such awesome work, all of us. So I'll talk to you guys all later. Thank you.